Today on Eppy's Chop Shop, we blow this engine apart, we get the heads took apart as well, and mushroomed exhaust valve, 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 mushroomed exhaust valve. Bow! Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Eppy's Chop Shop and part 2 of the F100's 302 teardown. And where we are right now is we're going to dig into this bottom end, we're going to get these heads disassembled, and I just want to show you a little bit before I move on here is, I done lost my other valve. As you can see, I already did a test set here. And this is how an intake valve, or a valve in general, get back in here, should slide in and out of the valve guide. Nice and easy and smooth. The next one isn't as bad, but it does kind of start to snag. I think that one will be okay with a little bit of love. But if you move on to my next one here, if my camera will zoom, there it goes. The top of this is completely mushroomed, and every single one of my exhaust valves on both of my heads are like that. And if I just slide those out or force those out through this valve guide, it's gonna tear it up, gull it, and I'm gonna have some machine work done and spend some more money. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to correct that to get those valves out without hurting anything, and then we're going to dig into this bottom end, so stay tuned. Bam! Alright, so what I'm going to do with this little guy right here is I think he just needs cleaned up around its edges just a smidgen. So I got some 1000 grit sandpaper here. Try to not hit my camera with my lube here. And basically, I'm just gonna push this valve up and just try and knock this down a little bit. If there's any edges on here, see if that slides out any better. Oh yeah, like butter. Like butter. Alright. So that was easy. We got an intake and exhaust out. This one, however, is going to be a little more work. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll give you a quick rundown on how my super cheap valve compressor works here. And I might actually correct this first. So we'll jump forward to that. Okay, so like I said, I decided to go ahead and leave the assembly together because the spring is going to hold the valve in place for me and do some of the work for me. So again, give a little quick ski. And I'm just going to take this little file, and I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on it. I'm just trying to knock the top of this mushroom off, get the sharp edge off of it. Oh yeah, a million times better. And again, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on here. I'm just kind of basically just rubbing this file just along the side of it, kind of trying to round this angle off. And then I hit this sandpaper, just like I did that, but the valve got it held in place like I said, so it's doing some of the work for me here. Alright, so let's get the spring off of here. Poof! Alright, so this is my super cheap, I think I got this from Harbor Freight. I know I didn't pay very much for it. And basically the concept of this is these lower teeth here, or these jaws, grab your spring from the bottom, and then these inner jaws press downward. And this tool doesn't always work the best, so bear with me here. Sometimes it doesn't like quite line up. But so we'll hook the bottom under the springs there. And we'll start tightening. Try to make sure it stays square-ish or center. Anyway. And they make way fancier, way more expensive tools that do this. Like literally it's just a giant clamp and it takes 2 seconds. But this is what poor little old me has to do with. But as you can see, got the spring compressed, it'll move. The valve moving right here. Now what I need to have happen is what I've been kind of doing is just kind of taking my little washer adapter here, putting it under my valve. Well, see, some of these don't like to let go. Alright, so just a few little tappies on the hammer. And these little guys, you probably can't see very well. You can get. It's where you kind of got to be a surgeon. This little guy, half of one of them. Alright. Maybe. There we go. Flew right up. And there's our spring. Yep. Other half of our retainer. And let's see how this valve is going to want to come out. Oh, like butter. Look at that. That thing was completely flat and mushroomed on the top when I started, and that just slid out super smooth. So my valve guides are still in good shape. Next, we'll probably jump forward to the bottom end of this because I have to do that, what, 13 more times? And I don't want to bore you with that. I don't want to bore myself with that. So let's move forward to the engine. And forward to the blocks agenda for today. I already got the head gaskets off. Obviously, this thing is still disgusting and needs cleaned and scraped, but still got a little bit of disassembly to do. First, I think what I'm going to hit, no pun intended, is I'm going to get this expansion freeze plug out of here, and I'm going to knock the other freeze plugs out and then do the same thing on the other side. Alright, let's do this. So I got basically just a variant of screwdrivers, and I'm basically just gonna pound through these. And as far as this expansion plug, it's just a bolt you tighten. And in theory, when I loosen this, this is gonna come out. In theory. Maybe. I've been in there a long time. There she goes. Look at that. That thing's all exploded. Left some of the guts on the inside there. So that's definitely not being reused. Next, let's hit these freeze plugs. Freezies. Basically, I'm just going to put a hole in them. I'm not quite sure which angle I want to take yet. I guess it doesn't really matter. Coming out real nice for me. Look at that. I was ill prepared for it to come out nicely. Damn. Let's get this other one out. Bam! Alright, so there's just a couple more of these on the other side. I think there's one on the back, maybe even one on the front. There's a couple throughout the block. Again, I'm not going to bore you, making you watch me do this a bajillion times. So next, we're probably going to start pulling these pistons out. Real quick, before I start pulling these things out, I don't know how well. Oh, you can totally see. If you'll note, the main caps are already pre-numbered from the factory. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then our rear with the numbers actually cast into it. And again, as I said in a previous video, this thing's been apart and rebuilt before, and someone has already saved me the effort. If you'll look, they've already stamped the numbers into the piston rod and the cap, and they have done that obviously for all of the rods. It's relevant for weight, bearings, etc. I'm using new bearings and new pistons, so it's not necessarily relevant, but they saved me a lot of effort. I can still pair all these together. So where we are at is I'm getting ready to start pulling these caps, and I've got just a wrench here on my crank, which will allow me to rotate everything, and let's pull these dudes out. Alright, let's do this. Shroud. Oh. I want to be careful. See that now that this cap's off, these my bearing's rolling around me. Get out of the way. These studs are kind of a sharp edge, and again, I'm replacing my bearings anyways. But you don't want to gull up your crank, and you don't want to gull up your cylinder walls on the way out. So be careful. Rotate it out of the way almost. Maybe. Bam. There we go. And again, those are just super gentle taps. Make sure you're not banging these guys into anything. And there's just sharp edges all over this. That'll really do some damage on the way out if you let it. But bam. Not hard at all. See, we just rotate this around, and we got 7 more of these. So again, not to bore you with doing the same thing a bajillion times, we'll jump forward to having these out. Boom! All right, so now that we've got these pesky pistons out of the way, let's get that crank out. And there's nothing to that except for just popping all these bolts loose, pulling these caps, getting that crank out. So out of the ordinary, for the first time, I'm gonna kick on some dope beats, let you watch me work some more.
Perfect.
Alright guys, that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed. Again, many more videos of this engine to come. You know, everything I do, machine shop, putting the heads back together, putting the bottom end back together, 100% of the assembly is going to go on this channel. I'm going to try and guide you through as much as I know, as well as the learning curve that I go through while doing this. So stay tuned for that. As always, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm at 102 subscribers right now. Like, if I could cartwheel without hurting myself, I'd probably do it. Like, I am so ecstatic. Thank you guys. Because of that, I'm going to do some sort of giveaway. I'm probably going to like make some shirts and some stickers and stuff. But keep an eye out on the gram for that. Eppy's Chop Shop on Instagram, obviously, just like my YouTube. That's it, man. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Deuces.